kind of there.
So we're live.
Fab.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start recording, Phil.
Can you record, or do I need to make you co-host?
Oh, you can just press record then, can't you?
Well, no, because I'm
Oh, okay.
I can record to the cloud, but it'd be better if you can make co-host. There we
I
go.
was comfortable just now.
What's that?
I was comfortable just now, and I moved to do all this stuff. Oh, that's better, Phil.
You like
Right.
it that way instead?
Yeah, that's straight. Okay, so I'm going to go down to record. Are you ready?
Yes, we're on. We're live.
Record to this computer. Hi, I'm Phil.
And I'm Phil.
And welcome to another amazing episode of the Phil and Phil Show. So we've had a break for what?
A little few weeks hiatus.
Yeah, we've had a few weeks break from one thing or another. We did manage to get one done when I was in the back of the van in the field, and then Phil's been moving and jobs, and I've been doing festivals. So, guys, really sorry for the gap and the delay, but the winter's back. So I guess we'll come and play.
So you did like 4 or 5 festivals back to back, huh?
Did 4 festivals in 5 weeks, yeah.
Wow.
And then, of course, for the last couple of weeks, I've had some kind of virus detox, transformation, growing spurt happening, which has been really uncomfortable and pretty exciting. But Phil, what I didn't tell you was a few days before it all started, I came home from a festival.
You did that thing.
And I did one of these bottles, which is the camera's up there, bottle G8, which is the darkest of all the bottles of the colored mirrors system. So it's all about clearing the deepest, darkest, gnarliest, horriblest aspects from self and humanity. And then I did that on the Saturday night. Then on the Sunday, I was going to do a stand in the park. Then I was going to my sister's, and at the stand in the park, my sister said, "Are you all right?" And I was like, "I am so tired. It's unbelievable. I can hardly walk." And then that was on the Sunday. Then on the Tuesday, I woke up in the morning and I went downstairs, and everything out of the window was a blur. All the trees were blurry, and I was like, "Oh, it's the light. You know, there's this, there's that. It's that's what it is." And I must be tired. Mm-hmm. And then I wasn't going to go to a festival. My mate messaged me, and I phoned him, and it's just like, "Okay, yeah, I'm coming. I'll come and help." And it was a lovely little festival, and it all finished on a Sunday, and then Monday, it all kicked off for me. I had shivers, fevers, and I was sleeping in my van in a field, and it was just like, man, this is just like terrible. And I got really tearful and emotional. And you know, it was what do they call it, a dark night of the soul. I mean, oh my God, what I went through on that night. Then I woke up in the morning, and I'd had a really bad night's sleep, and I could hardly walk, and it was just like, oh my God. And then the traffic, everything started to get to me, obviously, because I was getting really sensitive. And then the next morning I got up and said, I'm going home. I said to my mate, I've got to go home. I'm going to drive home. So I drove 100 miles home, and
Wow, that was a hard drive, I bet.
it was such a hard drive. And I managed to go to a supermarket and buy oranges and apples so I could juice.
Right.
And, you know, people actually, this is a really good point, actually, because people aren't talking about this. Any kind of virus, any kind of illness is a chance for the body to detoxify. And the worse the virus is the deeper the detox, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's given us this chance to expel all this nasty, gnarly stuff that's sitting in our energy field, in our you know, it just sits in our mind, body, soul, right? Which is a bit corny, but this is where it is. And it sits in the physical, and it fits in the etheric. And you know, this is an opportunity. So what didn't I take? I didn't take any painkillers. I didn't take any pharmaceutical antivirals. I didn't take any antibacterials. I didn't take any anything. Because as you know, Phil, and please add to this, if we take pharmaceuticals of any description, it drives the disease, illness, weakness, whatever you want to call it, deeper into our cellular structure. Mm-hmm. So even though I was in quite a lot of pain, and my head felt like it was going to explode, and it actually felt like my eyeballs were on fire, I still didn't take any painkillers. Mm-hmm. You know, I let that fever go. You know, I let the pain come out. But what I did do when a few days into it, when I was stronger, was I phoned the homeopath. Mm-hmm. Well, my mum, because I just couldn't function, so my mum, bless her, got the little homeopathic book out and was reading it, and then she'd say, "Oh, you need this remedy." So we did a bit of self-diagnosis until I was strong enough to then phone the homeopath. Mm-hmm. And the amazing thing was, right, Phil, with it all, I was getting chills. Mm-hmm. And the chill was like someone was pulling ice down my spine. Wow. It was so specific and so cold. So I phoned the homeopath, and towards the end I said, "Oh yeah," and I get these cold shivers, just like ice being pulled down my spine. And she said, "Oh," so she got on the computer, and she said, "Oh, that's belladonna." Down that specific, the chills were of ice being pulled down the spine. Mm-hmm. And that's how specific that remedy was. Right. So I had to be as specific as I could, and it was belladonna. So I started taking belladonna, and every day I started to feel better. Right. But it's 3 weeks tomorrow night since that, all of that, you know, real pain and suffering, since the real kind of, let's call it a virus, since that started, it'll be 3 weeks tomorrow, and I can still, even with, oh yeah, so what else did I do? I rested a lot. I went to bed, spent a lot of time resting and in bed. I didn't really read. I didn't watch anything. I just spent a lot of time resting. Mm-hmm. And when I had the energy, I was juicing. So I was juicing orange, lemon, and ginger, mm-hmm. and apple and lemon. And then my favorite one always is watermelon smoothies. Mm-hmm. So it's all very hydrating and very detoxifying, and it really works on the lymphatic system. And coming out of it now, I definitely feel a change in my character, and mm-hmm. for the better. So it was definitely a transformation I've been through. Right. I wouldn't wish it upon anyone, because it's really quite unpleasant. But I'm definitely now coming out the other side slightly stronger than before, mm-hmm. And it's affected my mental state in a good way, mm-hmm. and I get the sense it's affected me physically in a good way. Right. I had no idea I was going to talk about that, Phil.
Yeah, it's cool. So this color therapy, you did a bath or something with it, or what?
This bath. This bottle. Sorry, what I did was I got in the bath, stood in a bath of water, poured that all over me, and covered myself in it, and then I got in the bath and lay there for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And let it work its magic physically and etherically.
Yeah.
Just so as it could get right into my being and release the unwanted stuff. So I've just let Helen in. Helen, I was with Helen this morning for a little while, and Helen, it'd be really good actually when we finish for you to listen to the beginning of this podcast, because I was talking again about this bottle, and Helen today was the first person I gave this bottle to. I unwrapped it and put it in her hands today so she could experience the magic of the bottle. And from that, we really got into some talking about color and really introducing Helen into color. So that was I'm not going to talk anything, Helen, about what we discussed. That's between me and you. So now Helen's here having a listen to our podcast.
Yes, hello, hi.
Cool. Hi, Helen. So Phil, what was the question again? Sorry about that.
What was the question?
You were saying about I've got it.
Well, no. So what I'm seeing it. So basically, a lot of levels coming up. This is the purge. As I see virus, it basically just means poison, or we're being poisoned. There's no viruses as in the way that we've been told they are, but basically it's just a poison cell is what they see under the microscope, not a virus that comes to get you. So we're all being poisoned on many levels, like from modern life. There's karmic stuff too, but modern life, EMFs, chemicals, bad diets, we're being poisoned. So it sounds like what's happened to you is you took this color therapy and it allowed a release of that from your body. It gave your body permission to, okay, we're going to let this go now. So
we're going to let this really dark, deadly stuff.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Philip. Are you on your conference?
Yeah. Come on in. Oh, Tom wants to say hi. Say hi.
Hi, is this Phil?
Hey, Tom.
Hello. Are you doing your program now?
Yeah, we're live. We're live on YouTube.
Oh, well, I'd like to talk a little bit about cognitive dissonance.
Tom's just jumping right in. There you go.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of changing topics here, but it is kind of related, actually. I went to what they call a meetup group of vegans, I guess vegans, vegetarians, at a vegan restaurant here in Scottsdale, Arizona. And there were 9 of us there. And one of the fellows I recognized, and I found out where he stood a little bit later, but most everybody there understands the dangers of consuming GMO foods and drinking Roundup, things like this, glyphosates. Of course, Roundup, as our GMO foods, are approved by the FDA, our Federal Drug Administration. And if you go to the FDA site, for example, with GMOs, they've got some slick brochures telling you about the safety of GMO foods. And they've got all the scientific data. So it's just really a question, folks, to follow the science. Getting back to what these gentlemen said, in this conversation, we're eating dinner and so forth, and we're chit-chatting and so forth. And all of a sudden, he comes up with there's 650,000 people have died from COVID here in the U.S. And I started to question it, and it dawned on me, this is the guy I sat across a few months ago who says he's a vegan, watches his diet, and he told me that he was a big fan of Anthony Fauci, and that he was following the science and gotten two of the jabs. So here he has appeared again anyway, we started to try to converse about it. He had finished his dinner already. He got up and said he had to leave. So you can't even discourse this kind of thing. It's mind-boggling, actually. It's very difficult to try to convince people that are what we would call Joe Sixpack here, that watch TV, whether it's the left or the right TV, you get the same narratives from different perspectives. But but how do you convince somebody that understands the dangers of what big agra and big chemical companies doing to our food production, particularly with the likes of GMO? So, peace.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome. And remember, if you drink glyphosate, be sure to follow it up with a chaser of prune juice.
Okay, Tom. That's Tom.
That's Tom. Well, do you know what?
Okay,
it's still on the subject of deep, dark stuff, right?
It is, and because it's as a lot of memes say, it's the mind virus, right? It's the mind virus.
It's still on.
It's all different ways that we're being poisoned.
But what he was talking about was the darkness. That's what he was talking about then.
Yeah.
Was the darkness coming out.
Right.
And, the darkness is going to be revealed. That's what this is all about. The revealing of the darkness. So this is the dark night of the soul. This is about bringing the darkest stuff out of the basement. Mm-hmm. So we can actually talk about it, feel it, discuss it, share it, let it go, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's so what he's talking about was, even though he said it's off topic, it was absolutely on topic for the dark night of the soul.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it how this stuff works, because it's on topic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been around this stuff for so long, and it's a part of him is just so frustrated. It's just like, he's been trying to expose these things for, I don't know, 30, 40 years or something. He's been part of like Free Palestine movements, and he's just like, we're still fighting. It's still the same government. It's like left and the right. It's just like, so yeah. Well, that's crazy.
We haven't got to change the system, right? There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with the system. The system works absolutely perfectly for what the system was designed for.
Right.
So we know that the system doesn't work for us, and it's not broken. This is the other. This is the other disillusionment as well, right? Mm-hmm. The system is not broken. The system works perfectly well,
right,
for exactly how it was designed to work. Right. That's it. Mm-hmm. So those of us that go around saying, "Oh, but it isn't fucking broken,"
right?
It works perfectly.
Right.
So what we have to do now is not bitch about the broken system that's working perfectly well. What we have to do is create this new system that's actually going to be inclusive and work for all of us.
Right.
It's the same as a monetary system. The monetary system isn't broken. It works perfectly well. It makes the rich rich and the poor poor. It's as simple as that. And it works perfectly. So somehow we have to create, or, there is already different systems created. So what we have to do is learn about those, right, and share them with each other so we can get out of this corrupt, perfectly working system to a system that actually works for us.
Well, it's just going back to, like you were saying, how the choices people make, like in terms of taking drugs, antivirals, it drives the darkness back inside instead
Deeper.
of getting out of the way. So there's that outside system is perfect for making people sicker and whatever, but then we've got our bodily system, which is actually perfect. Like when we get out of the way, what did you do? You didn't go, I got to fix this. It's like, I got to get out of the way, just give it juice, a little bit homeopathic, but you really were getting out of the way and resting and then just letting that purge out of you. So you didn't try and fix it. You got out of the way and let it do what it knows to do. The whole body, like people are like, well, the immune system is like, well, the whole body is in effect is our immune system. It isn't like some system. There isn't an immune system really. It's like our body just is this beautiful detoxifying self-healing mechanism when we get out of the way. But the modern systems, the systems make it stop working. We get assaulted. It stops working on so many levels.
Yeah, and now, and I guess that on a level, you can look at our body as a system, and actually, it's been broken. It's been broken right down. And what we have to do is get out of the way, understand what it is that causes the dis-ease in this human vehicle, and then do all we can, go hell for leather, as the old expression is, to do the opposite of what's being done to get ourselves healthy. And I think it's a little bit like a set of scales at the moment, Phil, where you've got the scales are like this is like normal life, and this is our supernatural superhuman being life here. But people talk about balance, right? Well, if you put the same amount of weight on this end of the scales as this end of the scales, it ain't going to move. So what you have to do is kind of do what I'm doing, which is to be really extreme, so you can then bring that balance back together. But if you just put a nominal amount of weight on this side of the scales, nothing, it just doesn't move. So we have to be really extreme in order to find balance again. And that's, folks, if you want to get well on any level or every level, you've got to go extreme, because the alternative at the moment, what we're living in, is really extreme.
And on the grander scale, with everything that we've been through in the last 2 weeks to 18 months to flatten the curve, is being that spiritual awakening. It's like the universe has gone, wow, these people need a freaking wake-up call. We're going to disrupt, we're going to wake them all up. And there are people waking up like crazy, but we're going through this extreme measures, like extreme things, extreme police control or military control or system control. And it's like, people are going, well, wait a minute. And it's like, we're having to wake up, and people are going, oh, wow, we have to return to simple systems. We have to, and like I keep hearing about people going, oh, wow, we got to go grow a garden. We got to go to the community. We got to go get out of the cities. And more people are waking up. I mean, many people are going further to sleep, but there's a lot of people that are going, oh, this is what I was born to do. I was born to wake up in this time. And it's perfect. It's perfect what's happening. As intense as it is, like, you knew this is perfect what I'm going through. And I've been through similar things myself, where I've had my little dark night of the soul, feeling sick. And I don't run off to the doctor, or like, I have people, colleagues at work that, like, they get sick and they're down at the emergency room. And I'm just like, what? Like, just go rest, go drink some water, go to bed, sleep, and listen to your body, to what it needs, and there's so many options when it comes to that. And it's that running back to the system, fix me, give me something. And it's like, take the drug and then suppress it. And then they'll feel better. But what did they do? They just drove that. Wow. It's interesting. I love that analogy. They just drove that darkness deeper into their system. And what's that going to manifest of later? Oh, I suddenly got cancer, heart disease, stroke. No, you didn't. Sadly, you didn't know, nobody's to blame. Like, they didn't know, but sadly the system drove that darkness in. Beautiful. And then eventually it just manifested and mushroomed out in the form of cancer, heart disease, etc. So,
then, when they talk about genetic diseases, and of course, genetic diseases on the level, but it's dis-ease within the genetics. It's not a it is it is a predisposition, but because of epigenetics, we can now make it our destiny or not. So one of the things I love about iridology is it can show you your tissue weakness. So it can show you like an organ weakness. So let's take adrenals, right? So it can show you an adrenal weakness, whether that's acute, chronic, and then hereditary, which is another level. And then with that hereditary disease of the adrenal health, shall we say, then it's that acute or chronic within that hereditary pattern. And then when you look down through the family, you can see anxiety, right? You can see anxiety and fatigue all the way down through, like for me, my siblings, my dad, my mum's dad. I can see the anxiety and the fatigue through the generations. So what that then means for me is I've clearly got a genetic weakness in my adrenals. So that adrenal gland, so it's all in the word gland, is my weakness, right?
Right.
So what does that mean? That means I've got to detox my body the best I can. And we were talking about this actually, Phil, when you said, are you taking tonics or herbs, whatever it was? And I'm like, and at the time my brain was just like, oh my God, I can't deal with this. What should I take? and then you sent me this little list of tonics and herbs to take. And it's like, oh, I've got those in the cupboard. I'll just put them in my juice or put them in my smoothie or whatever it is.
It's so hard to remember when you're not feeling good to do what you need to do. It's like,
oh man,
a little reminder from somebody. You know?
Nothing worked. I mean, I wish you'd have been here just to knock me up a little tonic, and I could have.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, so it's understanding our gland and organ weaknesses. So then either we can do what weakens them. So adrenals would be overwork, exercise, not exercise, or over exercise.
Right.
Because adrenals can't stand over exercise, and take stimulants, not enough sleep, sugar. I mean, I can go on and on and on about the adrenals, right? So
and it's like that's the Western lifestyle. It's like drink coffee every day, get to work, even if you don't want to, like nonstop, like stress. And it's like we don't stop.
Yeah. So of course, if you've got that, well, it's the same with you, Phil, isn't it? Having suffered with adrenal weakness, so the same as me is we have to nurture our adrenals. So what does that mean? So that means no coffee. If you're going to have chocolate, make sure that it is raw cacao and make sure it's a very minimal amount, and really understand it, and know that if you're going to exercise, you have to really listen to the body. Same as working, you've got to really listen to that, and you've got to sleep. You've got to be really do peaceful things for yourself. Whatever that might be. For me, it would be at the moment we're going to stand in the park. And that's great because we get to meet all sorts of people that we would never meet. We're creating this tribe, which is amazing. And 99.9% of the time is peaceful. I have now we're meeting at a sacred spot. So I park the van and then walk across the fields to get to it. That's lovely. And it's enough. So that thing about disease is, of course, we're all predisposed to so-called diseases, but the diseases that manifest are weaknesses. They're gland weaknesses, which who knows where that's been caused, what it's been caused from, or where it's come from. So we either load ourselves up with good stuff or we load ourselves up with shit stuff, and that's the choice.
Yeah. And the predisposed thing is really interesting. It's like people go, well, it's in my family line. It's like, well, it's in all our family lines. Like, look back at at least the past, I mean, probably a lot longer, but the industrial thing and poisoning people has been going on for the last 300 years. I mean, I think Jenner came up with his smallpox vaccine in 1796 or something like that. We've been poisoning people for a long time, and that genetic degradation has been happening. And then, when the Industrial Revolution and the metals coming into the environment, all of these, and then putting people into factories and the 9 to 5 and all these things. So it's not just like, oh, I'm genetically disposed to cancer. It's like, well, no, we're being poisoned, and it's been going on for a long time. And yes, you may not have been exposed in this lifetime, but there's a weakness that was passed down from your parents, and their parents. It's come down from whatever environment they were living in, or the exposure that they were living in. And you've passed that's passed down to you, kind of thing. So
yeah, so looking at adrenal weakness, Phil, 21 years ago, when I went to see a practitioner, and he used to be in the pharmaceutical industry, and he was saying now that 95% of his clients had adrenal weakness. Right. He said, if not 99%.
Yeah, totally makes sense.
And one guy that he went off to his family farm, and he went to Italy for 6 months and basically did nothing for 6 months. Mm-hmm. And he came back and he strengthened his adrenals.
Right.
But what my friend was saying was 99% of the time that doesn't work because the adrenals are too far gone. And that's 22 years ago.
Yeah.
There's a whole generation been born actually in that time. Mm-hmm. So you can guarantee that they're going to be 100%, that they're going to have 100% adrenal weakness.
Well, we see that the younger people are weaker. They have less strength. I mean, like my housemate, like he's got like more energy sometimes than the younger people. Like you hear about that, where it's like this old guy is like working in the garden, and the young people can't keep up with him because they don't have this. Yes, sure, they might not have a super clean diet, but their foundation was stronger. They were born when maybe they were born in the country and it was cleaner, and they just had a simple diet. But then this younger generation, you wonder what's going to happen. So.
Well, we're seeing it, aren't we? We're seeing it now,
yeah.
all of the time.
Yeah.
So we've all got gene weaknesses. That's the nature of the beast. We're all predisposed to these different elements. Back down to where I was going. It's lifestyle. It's lifestyle choices, and we have to bring that darkness out of us, not drive it deeper in. We've got to bring that darkness out, and we've got to drive that light in. So let's talk about that, Phil. Let's talk about, instead of driving that darkness deeper, right? So we're going to do stuff like colored mirrors, and that brings it out. It's without looking back, which I didn't look back, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh wow, I did that, and then that happened, and that happened, and that happened, and oh my god, then that happened.
Right.
But it was like my consciousness knew that I'd finished.
Mm-hmm.
I'd finished the festivals, and it's like, right, we can start healing now, because you can go home and rest and drink juice.
I'm just laughing because I'm thinking about, you were at that last festival. It was a psychedelic festival, and you're like, I can't remember exactly what you said. You're like, I need to let go more. Like, it was something like that, right?
Yeah, I was talking about letting go of control.
Yeah, you didn't need freaking psychedelics, buddy. You just needed to ask for that, and just what you got. Like, you just asked for that. Boom, the universe responded, and like, okay, well, you need to lie in bed for like 2 weeks and go in. There's nothing. I'm gonna stop you from doing anything else. You can't work. No more festivals. You had to surrender, and you did. Boom. Yeah,
that's true, man.
Mm-hmm. And you were asking for it really strong. It was like, I don't know, it was 2 a.m.
And after that show, I took that bottle.
Did that. Mm-hmm, exactly.
So
but you totally created that. You asked for it, and that's why they say be careful what you ask for, because it's gonna unfold. So, and you've been wanting to get to this deeper level of stuff that you knew was there. So,
absolutely, Phil. I've been desperate for a shift, desperate, and it's just like, how do you? Okay, universe, I'm not asking this question really. I'm just asking this question to Phil. How do you do that? How do you let go of that of that self-control? How do you let go of that inner darkness? How do you let go of that? And then how do we bring the light in, right? How do we? And then we're back to that conversation again now. You know, and we can cover how do you it's a double-edged topic now, Phil, isn't it? Because we're talking about driving the darkness. We don't want to drive the darkness in, right? So how do we lift that darkness out? And how do we then bring the light in deep? How do we drive that light right deep into our being? So it's not just a superficial light, but it's actually light on a cellular and intracellular level. Because this is what we want to do. We want to lift this darkness out from a cellular and intracellular level and bring that light in to flood our very being at a cellular and intercellular level.
Right.
Wow, man.
Yeah, it's good.
Hang on, I'm going to do a spray. I'm going to do a spray. Let's do Moldavite, because Moldavite is going to expand our consciousness, ground us right in while sending us off into the stratosphere.
Okay.
To do astral travel. Sounds quite a cool spray, doesn't it? So here we go. I'm going to breathe it in. And then, Phil, we're going to do another one with Earth Star Rainbow Dragon. So this is a really deep grounding, earthing one. I'm going to breathe in, share it out with you guys. Now take that down right through your body, all the way out through your root chakra, into the ground, about 2 feet, half a meter in the ground is your soul star chakra. Sorry, your earth star chakra. Wrap that energy around that chakra and do it up tight. Tighten it up, tighten it up, tighten it up until you feel yourself really connected with the earth and you're feeling really grounded. Open your eyes, come back to the room.
When you first did the Moldavite, I was like, I got a little dizzy and spacey. And then like, it was like, oh God, thanks for doing the grounding. Because I think I would have been like, whoa, I'm like in the stratosphere.
Right. You know, and suggestive wording as well, right?
Yeah. So it's, yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you created that. So just, what
a big subject tonight. Big subject.
Well, so people go, well, you know, can't it all be love and light and ease and grace? And I think there is an aspect where we got to go out of our comfort zone. And the process I went through in the last 2 weeks was, you know, I've got this comfortable job, which is, you know, I get paid well and go to work and do my thing. And it's, you know, a good company. But I knew in my heart that I had to like make a shift and step out of my comfort zone and share with the work that it was time, share with everybody at work that it was time to move on. And it was hard, you know, to tell people because they've become my family and to let them know that I'm stepping down at the end of the year. And so, yeah, that was the process I went through. And each person I told, it was challenging because I've really connected with that. They are my family that I see every day or I connect with. And it was like, okay. And I had to like get myself going and step out of the comfort zone multiple times to tell people I was moving on. So, because I am the pivotal person in this company. I mean, as the general manager, like people like I'm holding the energy. So it's going to be a big shift for them. And I know that people are going to step up, which is it's going to be amazing. They will step up into their positions, but I had to step away to allow that. So yeah, that was my coming out of my comfort zone in the last 2 weeks. So we're kind of going through it together, Phil.
I think it's a pretty cosmic, universal thing. I think one of the gifts for you and I is we've got each other, right? And you know,
yeah.
nearly every Sunday night now we do a show and talk and share with each other in the world, you know, about what we're going through. And depending on what stage you're ready at, and how much you actually want to let go of or expand or, you know, transform, whatever it is it's there. So like Phil said, be careful what you ask for, because you might get a big transformation burst. And sometimes they're not very comfortable. However, you will only ever get what you can deal with.
Right.
Even if it feels like you can't deal with it, you will deal with it, because you can deal with it, because that's the nature of the universe. The universe is only going to give you what you can deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it feels like you can deal with it, or whether you want to deal. I mean, I didn't want to deal with what I dealt with the last 2 or 3 weeks. You know, someone would have said, "Oh, Phil, there's an opportunity for transformation to come. Do you want to spend 2 weeks in bed and feel like death and think you're going to die, or not?" And I'd have been like, "I think I'll give that a miss. Thank you very much." Do you know what I mean? Surely there's got to be an easy way of loving light and butterflies and dolphins. Surely.
Rainbows and unicorns, Phil. Rainbows and unicorns.
Let me know, because you know, I'd like to experience that one. But it's
I'm just thinking about that. Like I was talking about, like people go, "Oh well, let's go." Like I was talking about Glastonbury with somebody the other day. I was comparing Sedona to Glastonbury. It's really interesting that they're very similar. It's like melting pot. And people go, "Oh, Sedona, it's all like love and light," but there is so much chaos that happens there. And I know that's the same in Glastonbury. People go, "Oh yeah, it's all spiritual," and it's like, yeah, you're gonna go through it. And some people lose it, right? Some people go crazy, and other people can hold that energy. But it's
I'll tell you what, not many.
Not many. No, not many. And the same in Sedona, where there's been some really interesting things where these, like, I'm sure it happens in Glastonbury, where these false prophet guru people come in and people like start following them, and then they realize like it's a cult, and then it's just like the whole thing implodes. Like it's interesting. You got to be careful of those energy spots. There's another example, like Eden Hot Springs near here. It's like there's these weird vortexes there, and like people go through the crap. I mean, both of us know we went to the Tree of Life. Like the energy there, like Gabriel held, like it's a healing center. We'll go juice and we'll feel great. And it's like, well, no, there's a deeper level here, a spiritual component, and everybody's shit's gonna come to the surface, and we're gonna face it with each other. And I just don't think there's no way. I don't think there's a way around it. You have to face it, and there's gonna be discomfort in that process. We're gonna have to step out of our comfort zones and just face that, whatever, face it. So,
well, you know, crap stinks, right?
Yep.
And it doesn't matter how you flavor it or wrap it up. Oh, I can see better. Wrap it up or whatever you do with it, it still stinks and it's still crap, and we've got to deal with it. You know, and like when I came to Tree of Life with you, Phil, it was a roller coaster. I mean, every week was a roller coaster for everybody, not just the participants, but everyone that was holding the space. Every week we did that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I did 13 weeks with you guys. And I know when I came out at the end of it, you know, out at the end of the program, it was like, oh, I wish I'd have stayed now. But anyway, you know, Gabriel offered me to stay for another set of time. And for whatever reason, you know, I had my reasons and I had to go home. But it's, you know, it's yeah, and this is what we got to remember is healing centers, healing retreats, when you do a juice fast or a fruit fast or you know, a tea fast, water fast, whatever it is, dry fast, which is, you know, what I did back in June, they're not comfortable. They've all got their different levels.
Well, talking about that, when I got on the show, I was sleeping. So as all this came up, it was really interesting. So the other week, Susan was like, I need to go on a fast. And then I was like, oh, David Wolf's doing a cleanse group. So I was like, oh, let's just join it, you know, join his cleanse group. So the timing of like me sharing at work. And so now we're on week 1 is the prep for the cleanse. So we're on 1 meal a day right now and liquids. So smoothies, juices, stuff like that. And then you just eat one meal a day. And starting Monday, we go into the actual fast, so just juice. And then if you want, week 3 is like a water fast. So he kind of phases it down. So I'm doing like Scram, which is the parasite formula, wormwood, clove, black walnut type of thing. I did a colonic yesterday, done a couple of enemas. So like I'm talking about the crap, that stinks, that's coming out of me. So I haven't done a colonic or an enema. It's like I'm always like, oh, whatever, but I haven't done it for, I don't know, 10 years. I hadn't done one for. So, and it was good. I was like, oh, I don't want to do this. So I was really nervous, and I was like, oh, well, I really need to do this. And then I did it, and it was like, it felt really good. So it felt really cleansing, and it's a release. It was a little uncomfortable doing it. It wasn't it's not a fun thing to do, but it felt good afterwards. So it's like release that. You release a lot of energy and emotions, and yeah. So,
and anyone that's watching this now or future is, where do I start? Colonic, it's a great place to start. Juicing, great place to start. Intestinal cleanses, great place to start. It's just look after this physical vehicle, right? It's the only one we've got.
Yep.
Everyone's bothered about their 3-bedroomed house, but actually the 3-bedroom house ain't no good if this vehicle packs up.
Exactly.
Because there ain't no one to live in the 3-bedroom house. And everyone's busy about going out into the physical world to make a physical body at the expense, to make a physical home at the expense of their physical body.
Right. And the body comes first. I mean, it doesn't mean that the home won't create, but you have to have that foundation of taking care of the body at the highest level.
Yeah. And, and we're back to that extreme thing again. We are in extreme times, up until 1940, everything was organic. Everyone ate an organic diet. There was no messing around. And now when I try and I do my best for everything to be organic, I'm extreme. Mm-hmm. So, man, how far have we gone away from normal? What's right?
Mm-hmm.
If me eating an organic diet is extreme, we're a long way off the path.
Well, but it totally makes sense though. Like that, everything we're doing is now considered extreme. Like, and now it's being capitalized on full on. Like, we are the extreme because we are so against the system, and more people are becoming extreme. It's like, oh, I need to go back to the earth. I need to grow my own food. I need to collect rainwater. And like, that is extreme to the system. That's a threat to the darkness. That's a threat to the system.
Yeah.
So it's going, oh, I'm going to label those people extremists, whatever, right-wing extremists, because they're against me. So it's the system's just fighting back, going, oh my God, you're going to reject me? Oh, you're extreme. Yeah, it's like, so it's interesting.
Yeah, so we're going to go back to lifting the darkness out and bringing the light in, right?
Right.
We'll get there in a minute. And so some of the ways that I use to lift the darkness out is I use a system called colored mirrors. It's color therapy, so it's all vibrational. And I also use EFT and matrix reimprinting, which are other energy tools to use. And of course I use food, right? I use food to lift out the darkness and to drive the light in. So what are your modalities, Phil, that you tend to use?
Well, I mean, the one we always talk about, and you do that too, is like, well, today you go to nature, or you go to sacred sites. So returning to nature, leave your phone at home, like that thing, like walk away from that and just go into nature and actually just shut the hell up, just be. We're like, oh, my phone, like, just shut up and go there and sit down under a tree, put your feet on the earth, and just wait. like that, the guidance will come of what you need to do. And like the shift that I'm making right now was like when I spent a month like in nature. Every day I came to England, I spent a month in nature. Every day I was walking on the earth, jumping in the rivers, and it was like, oh, you're meant to return back to England. It was like really clear what I needed to do, and it's taken a while to get there, you know, with all the layers and layers of stuff. But you know, I probably would have been there sooner if it hadn't, you know, the world exploded with, you know, Covidius Maximus. But I set the intention. So I set this other clear intention. It's like I wanted to leave with the highest integrity, and it was like 2019, and I was getting ready. I told one person, it was the end of 2019. I was like, you know, I'm going to move on. And then this weird thing happened. That guy, it was a big breakdown, and he ended up leaving. So I was like, oh shoot, I can't leave right now. I got to hold this space. I want to leave with integrity, and I want to leave a really good space. So it took until pretty much now to get to that space where I feel I can step away with integrity and leave them, you know, a great thing. So, but I created that, you know, I could have probably left and it would have been fine, but I set an intention and I chose to follow through on that one. So, yeah, but it feels really good. It's scary at the same time, but it feels really good. So I made that decision, made that choice. Ready for what's next, I think, maybe. Thinking it's all going to be eat roses now, right?
Yes, it's oh man, we're just in such an amazing time of transformation, and I'm not saying it's easy, I'm not saying it's a bed of roses, I'm not saying it's great, but we are in a massive time of transformation,
right?
And you know, this is the dark night of the soul. We're going through the dark night of the soul collectively as a planet. And it doesn't mean that everyone's going to have a shit time. It doesn't mean that, because some people don't. Some people, right, you know, their life just gets better and better and better and better. That's their karma, right? Mm-hmm. And for others of us, it's tough.
Right.
It's tough.
Just talking about bringing in the light, it just reminded me of Gabriel Cousins' his whole mission was become a superconductor for the divine energy. It's the same thing. It's like we really work hard on this vessel, this temple, this body, so it can hold more light energy. But to be able to hold more light, we need to empty out the darkness. We need to empty the cup so that the light can come in. And there's many ways to do that: meditation, nature, eating clean diet, doing emotional trauma work, all of those things. I don't think there's a choice. You can't say, well, I'm not going to do that, I'm just going to do nothing. It's like, I think we have to take some actions, I think. So, you know,
and the thing with food is, as well, because of our society and the medical system, actually food is something that has become undervalued, and right, certainly, I was going to say underutilized, but actually food is utilized in a massive way every single day to bring right, the darkness in and to drive the light out. You know, this is the other thing as well. If you're bringing darkness in, you're driving light out.
Right. Well, and it's the so-called food that people are eating, right? That's it's not going to support that superconductor energy. It's
no, because it's
minerals, nutrients, vibration. It's darkness. Like, the other day, Susan and I had this really interesting experience. We had to go into Walmart. Like, Walmart's Walmart. Everybody's heard of Walmart. Oh my God, that's a scary store. We haven't been in there. Like, we don't shop there. We just had to go there for something I'll share later. We had to go in there, get something. But we came out and we kind of were arguing for a minute. We were all like, energy was all off, and we're like, wait a minute, that was the store. Like, there was a dark void in there. You know, it's just like, wow. So it's, yeah.
Yes, you know, so that's another good example of kind of bringing darkness in, right? Mm-hmm. And actually, I haven't thought of that before, really, is the way we bring darkness into our lives. Everyone's on about, oh, I'm going to bring the light in, and it's love and light and all the rest of it. Oh, we've got someone, Tim is saying, it's great Travis back in his kitchen.
Oh,
so he sent a message on YouTube, Phil. Yeah. Hey
well,
Tim,
yeah, I'm
fantastic,
on my
bro.
phone, so I
Glad
don't
to
see
know that
it.
you found us again, mate, and you're back. Fantastic. Um, so we can use our daily rituals to bring the light in, push the darkness out, or bring more darkness in and push the light out. Now, you can extinguish your light. That's what happens, is we
Right.
extinguish our light. But actually, we need to be like the genie in the bottle, man. We need to rub that bottle. And how can we do
Burn
that?
it up. Yeah.
Shine the shit out of it, man. How can we do that? Orange juice, apple juice, fresh pressed juices that we make ourselves, sprouts, fresh fruit, fresh food, organic. Get outside and breathe fresh air. Do what Phil does. He goes to the desert and rides his bike. How amazing is that? And look at life supporting herbs to be taken. Look at go find a color therapist, go find any therapist. It doesn't matter what therapy you have. It doesn't matter what you do. Just do some, nature's actually your therapist, right? Meditation in nature's a therapist. I'll put hands up, right? I don't do a lot of that. That's something that I need to be doing more of again. But life's full of richness of getting light into our vehicle.
And it could be anything. Like it's so random acts of kindness, helping people, all those things, connecting with your creativity, your sacredness, dancing, singing, whatever it is that like lights your spark, do it.
I tell you, a random act of kindness that I've done a few times is paid for the car behind me to go over a toll bridge.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
Know what I mean? And sometimes it only costs you 5 pence.
It's an energetic thing, and we have to do it. It's not in the thing of like getting something back. It's not about that. It's just because it's just part of the nature of who we are. Is like we need to do that. It's like there isn't really like, oh, if I do that, I'll get this back. It's like, no, it's the nature of, if we block that sharing, like if we hoard, it's like, so it's like receiving all the energy for self alone. It's not good. It's a flowing energy. So it's like we receive these beautiful gifts, sunshine, nature, organic food, herbs, and then the circuit's broken if we don't share some of that energy with our fellow human beings. In terms of, it could be as simple as you're at a gathering and you give somebody a hug, or you look in their eyes and tell them you appreciate them and tell them that they're beautiful. That is sharing the energy. So it doesn't have to be monetary. It's like, that kind of kindness. So,
or if you're going to a gathering as well, take something to share.
Yeah.
Take something that's going to. So here's a challenge: is to take something to a gathering that you go to that's going to increase someone else's light. I took a load of kale chips with me, Phil.
Oh, nice.
Some organic kale with a pumpkin seed cheese. Dehydrated, and I took a box full of those and shared.
Did you make them?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
My mom's making kale chips right now. She has a glut of kale in the garden. So she's like, what type of kale chips do you want? Like, I was like, hey, here's a recipe, do this one. Yeah.
Yes, it's active. Yeah, that's really nice, Phil. Active, random acts of kindness is, give someone a smile, right? If you think someone's struggling, give them a smile. That's a really simple random act of kindness. And that I remember I was driving behind a plumber's van once, and on the back of the van it said, if you see someone without a smile, give them one of yours.
Aww.
But the bizarre thing was, right, I was like, how do I give someone a smile? I was thinking physically of giving them a smile. It's like, oh, you haven't got to give them anything.
Nope.
You just have to smile.
And it really is true. The best things in life are free, as they say. And sure, sometimes it might be a monetary value thing, but it mostly it's just connecting with fellow human beings with kindness. It could be the person you're at there at the checkout and you're buying your celery and you just give them a big smile and tell them you appreciate. Thank you for checking me out today. It's a beautiful day. Just those simple things, and we often poo-poo that. It's like where we say to that person in the checkout when we're buying something, it's like, "How are you doing?" "Oh, I'm buying," and sure, it's like trite kind of thing, but it still is connecting with another human being. So I think our intent is to do it with as much intention, as much integrity, where it's not just like, "Have a nice day," it's like we actually really feel it in our heart, and that other person is going to feel that too. So I mean, I've done that and like ended up with hugs at the checkout, so
Wow.
Yeah. So you just coming in
Is that
with
because
that.
is that because you've got your free hugs t-shirt on?
Often I do have I wear this shirt a lot, as you can tell. Well, but the interesting thing right now is like most of my clothes are in the middle of the ocean somewhere on a ship. So like I've probably got like 4 shirts and 2 of them are free hug shirts.
Wow. Amazing, Phil.
So yeah.
So some other ways of bringing that light in, right? Because we don't want to focus on just getting the darkness out, and actually we can't focus on just bringing the light in either.
Right.
We have to be prepared to look at the duality, and the duality is light and dark, black and white, right and wrong, right? It's about heaven and hell. It's about kindness and wickedness. And we have to look at that. We have to, if we're not going to look at this wickedness within ourselves and within society, if we're not prepared to look at this wickedness, the shit's going to carry on.
You prepared for, sorry Phil, I gotta jump in, but like it's clear you prepared for these last 2 weeks for probably a long time, but you've been doing a lot of stuff bringing in the light. The beginning of the whole craziness, that the world blowing up and things happening, you went into a 40-day cleanse. You really like that. You're purely bringing in the light, and you had a beautiful experience. Sure, you had a few little blips and pieces, and then 4 weeks of going to festivals and sharing your love with a lot of people, making raw food, there was so much light going on in those events, and I think you probably just all of that energy that you created, and it just purged it out. So yeah, sure, there's going to be darknesses, but it's not the majority of our lives or of your life. You would spend a lot of time bringing in the light and a lot of time sharing. I'm sure you didn't get paid anything for these events. You probably broke even. Hopefully, you probably didn't even break even, but you shared a lot of energy and you shared a lot of love. You shared beautiful, healthy food with people. Sure, you shared a lot of smiles and hugs, and you changed people's lives. And then, okay, so now I'm going to purge a little bit more darkness here. So yeah,
that's true. I think you've nailed it, Phil. And that's, and most of us that actually went to that medicine festival in our team, most of us, 1, 2, 3, 4 of us got really sick. Really sick.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, the medicine festivals very specifically, there was a lot of energy moving. So there was people who were purging darkness out of their systems, doing psychedelics, stuff like that, and moving a lot of energy. And you're going to pick that up. We can't not pick up energies. We can't totally isolate ourselves from what other people, we're empathetic beings. We all are. We don't live in a bubble. We can't stop that. We are feeling, and everybody's feeling that. We're feeling what's going on in the world. We're feeling some people who are really oppressed right now. So we're feeling all of that. We're feeling our oneness. And during that very intense couple of days, there was people going through some pretty strong dark nights of the soul, I'm sure, walking on the journey, and you picked that energy up. You were holding that space during that time. And now it's like, and then it got to move out. You had to then process it. We got to be careful with that too. It's like, we will pick up the energies of other people. There's no way around it. So,
because it's really interesting. One of the girls on the team said, why did I get ill? Because it's a medicine festival. I said, because you got your medicine.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? We weren't doing the medicine, but we were
Right.
doing the medicine.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And you know, and I didn't realize that actually we got medicine.
Right.
You know, some people did ayahuasca or they did the frog medicine, and they went through their journey for like 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was 2 weeks.
Yeah. But and it's such an important thing. There is space holders and people going through it. I remember the sweat lodges that we did at the Tree of Life and or Nipi sweat lodges, where some days I didn't want to go in the sweat lodge. I wanted to be the person who brought the rocks into the inside, and that's a really powerful space to hold. You're holding space for all those people in there, and it's not an easy thing. You have to be really present, and you carry the rocks into the, you know, and you stay outside, and you're kind of guarding that space. So you are in ceremony with them, you know. So
Absolutely, it's such an important job.
Yeah,
such an important job. And you know, so there you are holding the light, and that's why it's really important to go in the sweat so you can purge your darkness.
Right. Yeah.
Because
sometimes you need to go in, sometimes you need to hold the space outside. And
absolutely,
both roles are critical. So
we have to do both. Well, we don't have to do both roles, but both roles are critical. Yeah,
they're very useful. Yeah, you do whatever you like if you want. You just doesn't. It's up to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So you know, there's some ways of holding the light, shining your light on the darkness, man. And I guess the harder you shine your light, the more darkness comes up.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's what we've got to do. You know, I say we, that's what I have to do. Then that's clearly my journey, is to transform darkness and bring in light. You know, that's my journey. That's what I've been doing for, God, 30 years probably.
I'm feeling a shift. I'm feeling a break. I think we're tailoring down here. So maybe some color and yeah.
Okay, Phil, what color?
Ruby red.
You know that one. Okay, so we'll do this one first, and then the one that I saw we'll do. Okay, ruby red. This is about tribe, clan, family coming together. And then this is Uriel. I don't know a great deal about Uriel, but this is a copper color, so it's going to be really great for grounding. Okay, here we go, Phil. Welcome Uriel into our space. That's better. But I also think, Phil, that's probably a good time to wind up the show.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
So this has been another fantastic episode of the Phil and Phil Show. And I'm Phil.
And I'm Phil.
And thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for sharing your time with us. And if you'd like to donate to us, you can go to our website, philandphil.com, where we've got a link that we can take donations on.
Yep. Thanks for joining our journey. This is Phil and Phil evolving out loud. It's interesting. These are the kind of conversations that we finally got to that point where these are the conversations we have on camera and off camera, and there's not that much difference anymore. It was really interesting at the beginning. It was kind of like, oh, well, we're on the show now, and then okay, off the show. But it's like, it feels like we're more in just having what we talk about when we're not on the show.
Yeah, our conversations are definitely becoming more authentic.
Yeah.
And that, you know, and that is evolving out loud, right? The whole point of this was to become as real as we could be whilst sharing.
Yep. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. We love you so much. Bless you with so much love and light to support you in your unfolding.
Yeah, and keep evolving, guys. Keep digging deep. Keep digging deep. Keep evolving. Keep coming to our shows, and we'll share the best we can with you.